Ethan Harper expected a simple weekend of fishing and repairs, until he found his grandfather's bridge chained off by HOA security. Little did the Pine Point Homeowners Association know, the deed in Ethan's glove box granted him exclusive ownership of that very crossing. Ethan Harper guided his pickup along the winding stretch of Pine Shore Road, the morning mist lifting to reveal the lake's glassy surface. At 32, he relished the freedom the cabin offered: no cell service, only loons calling across dawn waters. His grandfather, Harold Harper, had bought the cedar cottage and surrounding oak grove in 1950, teaching Ethan the lore of shoreline fishing and the lore of structural maintenance. This weekend, Ethan planned to replace rotted decking on the porch and repaint the shutters before Labor Day visitors arrived. As the gravel shifted beneath his tires, Ethan recognized the familiar wooden rope bridge spanning a narrow inlet. But today it carried a heavy chain secured with padlock, and across it stood a uniformed guard booth. A sign in crisp red letters declared, "Private road, no trespassing, by order of Pine Point HOA." Ethan's pulse quickened. He eased the truck to a stop a dozen feet away. From the guard booth stepped Melissa Torres, 28 and precise in her navy blazer security uniform. Her dark hair was tied in a severe bun, and her gaze flicked to her tablet screen before meeting Ethan's. "Sir," she said, voice polite but firm, "access restricted until property owners register on the digital portal." Ethan shut off the engine and climbed down. "I'm Ethan Harper. My grandfather built that cabin 75 years ago. The bridge leads directly to my land." He retrieved a folded document from his glove box, the original 1950 warranty deed. Melissa studied him for a moment. "All property owners must comply with the new covenant supplements that took effect this morning. You can submit your deed at the HOA office. Until approval, no one may cross." "What covenant supplements?" Ethan challenged. "My deed says nothing about HOA control of that bridge." She pointed to the sign. Amendment 22B. Community easement expanded to include roads and bridges over shared waterways. You weren't registered by the June 1 deadline. She tapped her tablet. "Protocol is protocol." Frustrated but unwilling to escalate here, Ethan nodded. He climbed back in the truck, dust cloud floating in his wake. His girlfriend Laura, riding shotgun, met his gaze. "They can't do that to you," she said, eyebrows arched. "I know," he muttered. "But we'll sort it out inside." 10 miles inland, the Pine Point HOA office stood amid oaks, its pale beige siding nearly blending with summer foliage. Ethan stepped through glass doors into the reception area, where polished floors reflected framed photographs of lake views. A cheery sign read, "Welcome to Pine Point HOA. Your community, your home." He was directed to Diane Carmichael's office. Diane, age 30, radiated corporate polish, a navy pantsuit, silk blouse, and perfectly styled bob. Her desk was glass and metal, her office overlooking a manicured courtyard fountain. She rose to greet him, extending a firm handshake. "Mr. Harper, thank you for coming," she said. "I'm Diane Carmichael, president of Pine Point HOA." Ethan handed her the deed. "Diane, my grandfather's deed conveys Cabin 7 and the adjoining land. I need to cross that bridge." Diane skimmed the document, brows unruffled. "Yes, your deed conveys the lot. However, our records show that the community easement expanded in 2023 to include all private roads and bridges. This ensures unified maintenance. All owners contribute annually." "My deed predates that by 73 years, Ethan replied. "It doesn't mention the HOA. Covenants can be amended," Diane said kindly. "They're binding on successors." The 2023 amendment included a digital registration requirement for security. "If you're not registered, access is suspended until documents review." He leaned forward. "I wasn't notified directly. I'd like to see that amendment." She gestured to a thick binder labeled, HOA Covenants and Amendments. Volume 3, Section 4B. Ethan flipped through pages under Diane's guidance. There it was. A small paragraph buried deep, describing easement expansions. No mention of grandfather exemptions. "I'll need to review your original survey maps and chain of title," he said. Diane nodded. "You may retrieve them at the county clerk's office. Submit findings, and we'll expedite review." Ethan left with the binder's photocopy in hand. As he exited, Diane's voice followed. "I appreciate your patience, and I'm confident we can resolve this." Outside, sunlight glinted off dusty glass. Ethan inhaled deeply. He resolved that by week's end, he would reclaim his right to pass that bridge, or prove it belonged to him all along. Before breakfast's first light, Ethan met attorney Maya Thompson at the county courthouse. Maya, meticulous with tortoiseshell frames and notes folded in her portfolio, led him down aisles of metal shelves stacked with aging deed books. She located map 12A, page 7, recorded June 5, 1950, a hand-drawn survey of Lot 7. Beneath a dotted line marking the inlet, a handwritten annotation declared, 20 ft private easement for ingress, egress including timber bridge. Reading aloud, Maya's voice trembled with excitement. Your grandfather's deed explicitly reserved that strip as private, not community. It says nothing about HOA control. Encouraged, they traced the chain of title. In 1978, Pine Point Development Company granted community easements for lots 1 to 6, but Lot 7 had a specific rider. Notwithstanding any covenants granted herein, Harper family retains exclusive rights to ingress and egress via bridge. The language was clear. The Harper heirs, and no one else, held the bridge. Maya folded her glasses and met Ethan's eyes. That, notwithstanding, clause supersedes HOA covenants. Legally, the bridge is yours. Ethan felt vindicated. Days of frustration coalesced into purpose. He agreed to compensate the HOA for any maintenance cost sharing they'd paid, but would not yield property rights. Armed with certified copies, he returned to Diane's office that afternoon. The polished president rose from behind her desk. Mr. Harper, any updates? He laid the survey and rider before her. Diane's posture stiffened, surprise flickering across her composed face. I was unaware of that provision, she admitted. I'd like to present this to the board, Ethan said. We must correct the record before anyone else is denied access. She nodded earnestly. I'll schedule a special board meeting this evening. That night, the HOA conference hall brimmed with cabin owners. Diane called the meeting to order, adjusting her blazer. Agenda Item 1. Review of bridge access and easement rights. Ethan took the podium. He displayed a projector slide of the 1950 survey, then the 1978 rider, and quoted state law. Exclusive easements are enforceable against third parties, including HOAs. Murmurs rippled through the audience, some in shock, others nodding. One board member asked, what about the registration fees and maintenance funds? Maya answered, Mr. Harper will reimburse any funds allocated for bridge upkeep since 2023, ensuring HOA coffers remain whole. Diane rose. I apologize for the oversight. Our records will be amended to reflect the Harper exclusive easement. We will remove the access suspension immediately. A motion to rescind the registration requirement for Cabin 7 passed unanimously. Diane pounded the gavel. Motion carried. The gate will be unlocked at dawn. As applause filled the room, owners congratulated Ethan. Diane approached him after. Thank you for your professionalism, she said, her voice genuine. I regret the inconvenience. Ethan nodded, extending his hand. Glad we could sort it amicably. Outside, cool night air carried ripples of relief. Ethan realized the bridge was more than a physical crossing. It was a link between past and present, private rights and community cooperation. With legal clarity secured, Ethan shifted focus to the bridge's physical restoration. 40-some years of weathering had left the planks warped, nails protruding, and moss blanketing surfaces. His grandfather's mantra, "Respect your structures like you respect the land," echoed in his mind as he met structural engineer Carla Nguyen at sunrise. Carla, an expert in timber bridge rehabilitation, methodically inspected each beam and plank. The foundational stringers are surprisingly sound, she observed, measuring deflection under applied load. But decking, cross ties, and handrails need replacement. I recommend pressure-treated southern pine with marine-grade stainless steel fasteners. We'll maintain the original arch and rail design. That weekend, Ethan rallied neighbors to volunteer. They gathered at dawn. Retired carpenter Joe Morrison, architecture student Priya Desai, and college interns eager for hands-on experience. Carla led the crew in clearing old boards while Ethan cataloged reused materials. Varnished planks from the original boathouse dock repurposed as decorative railing caps. Teams worked in shifts. Joe taught interns how to scarf and plane timbers for custom fit. Priya applied eco-friendly UV-inhibiting sealant to fresh boards. Carla verified torque settings on each lag bolt. By midday, stringers were reinforced with laminated beams hidden beneath original guard timbers, preserving authentic appearance. At noon, Diane Carmichael arrived, sleeves rolled up in a crisp polo shirt. She carried a toolbox, tightening rail brackets with efficient precision. "I promised to help repay the community," she said, smiling at rusted nails and spilled sealant. Her presence underscored how conflict had evolved into camaraderie. Ethan documented every step. Photographs, torque logs, and material certificates filed into a bound, Harper Bridge Restoration Report. Each entry bore the Harper family seal, an oak leaf within a circle, etched by Joe onto the report's leather cover. By Sunday dusk, the bridge gleamed under golden light. A hand-carved plaque read, "Harper Bridge Est. 1950 restored 2025" beneath it. A brass plate declared, "Exclusive Harper family easement." Word spread quickly. The local paper's headline read, "Community joins heir to restore historic bridge." A news crew captured Carla and Joe guiding a reporter across the span, explaining the hidden steel plates and corrosion-resistant hardware. Melissa Torres, the HOA security officer, interviewed for camera. "Glad to see such investment in community heritage." Back at the cabin porch, Ethan and Laura watched lantern-lit lanterns hung along the rails. Friends and neighbors crossed safely, dipping toes in the inlet below. Crabapple trees overhead rustled with cicada calls. Laura nudged Ethan. "Your grandfather would be proud." He nodded, heart full. "I just followed his blueprints and this community's spirit." By midweek, Diane published an HOA newsletter announcing a volunteer infrastructure corps and a heritage preservation grant. The grants funded dock repairs and historic cabin siding rehabs. Cabin owners responded enthusiastically, signing up to rebuild culverts and repaint boathouses. The restored Harper Bridge became a model, a physical crossing and a testament to shared responsibility. Autumn brushed pine needles across the festival grounds as Pine Point hosted its annual lakeside celebration. Families arrived with blankets, picnic baskets, and lanterns, but this year's highlight was the Harper Bridge rededication. Rustic driftwood seating filled near the inlet, strung with fairy lights. Diane Carmichael took the makeshift stage beside the plaque. "Tonight, we honor more than restored timber," she announced, voice carrying over hushed waves. "We celebrate the power of property rights, community collaboration, and respect for heritage." She gestured to Ethan and Maya Thompson, who stood proudly at her side. Applause rippled across the audience. Ethan stepped forward. "My grandfather believed in independence, doing the work yourself, but he also taught me that no man is an island. This bridge reflects both personal legacy and communal spirit. Thank you all for your dedication." He paused as oak leaves drifted down. "May this bridge remain a symbol that lawful rights and neighborly goodwill can build foundations stronger than any chain." Another round of cheers swept the crowd. That evening, festival-goers strolled across the bridge, lanterns bobbing. Children giggled as they tested planks while parents lingered on the railings, sharing restoration stories. Joe showed a young boy how to hold the drill. Priya described sealant chemistry to an aspiring engineer. Melissa handed out hot cider at the far end. Inside the harborside pavilion, long tables groaned under harvest fare, pumpkin stew, apple galette, roasted root vegetables. Neighbors gathered, offering to volunteer for next season's culvert project. Cabin owner Carla, no relation to the engineer, announced plans for a family memoir detailing Pine Point history, inspired by the bridge's saga. As dusk deepened, dignitaries presented Diane with a commemorative shovel, engraved, "Community Builder 2025. She beamed, accepting it on behalf of every volunteer. "This shovel digs more than earth," she said, "it cultivates trust." Later, Diane and Ethan walked the lakeshore in quiet reflection. Lantern light danced on gentle ripples. "I ran the HOA as if it were strictly rule enforcement," she confessed, voice low. "Now I see leadership as facilitation, empowering people to protect their own rights." Ethan skipped a smooth stone. "You helped transform a locked gate into an open invitation, for legal clarity, historic preservation, and neighborliness." She smiled at the stone's faint plunk in the inlet. "And you reminded me why covenants exist, to serve the community with integrity." They crossed the bridge one last time under the harvest moon. Hardwood planks echoed their footsteps. Above, stars flickered amid pines. Behind them, the cabin's lantern glowed, a beacon of home. In the weeks that followed, Pine Point's reputation soared. No longer a place of rigid restrictions, but a community defined by cooperation. The Volunteer Infrastructure Corps repaired aging docks. The Heritage Grant awarded funds for century-old cabins. Young families learned carpentry from retirees. The Harper Bridge remained at the heart of it all, a sturdy arc binding private legacy to public good. It proved that respect for property rights and the spirit of volunteerism could cross any barrier, forging a lasting legacy of unity under the canopy of pines.